You have been a crusader on questioning vaccines. Are there specific vaccines that you would seek to take off the market?
Oh, I'm not going to take away anybody's vaccines. I've never been anti-vaccine.
You will not take any vaccine that is currently on the market.
I'm not. If vaccines are working for somebody, I'm not going to take them away. People ought to have a choice, and that choice ought to be informed by the best information. So I'm going to make sure the scientific safety studies and efficacies are out there, and people can make individual assessments about whether that product is going to be good for them.
Would that include COVID vaccines that are currently on the market?
I want the best science for every vaccine.
It is part of that. During the pandemic, the height of the pandemic, you were questioning the FDA and calling them out for approving the emergency authorization of the COVID vaccines. If you had been in charge of the FDA at that time, would you have blocked the authorization of the COVID vaccines, like you were suggesting publicly?
What I was saying at that time is the vaccines are not going to prevent transmission, which they were telling the public that they would. They were saying, you need to take this vaccine in order to protect grandma. I knew in May of 2020 that the vaccines were not going to protect against transmission because I was actually reading the monkey studies.
But you would not have told the FDA. You would not have told the FDA to block the authorization of the
I would have
vaccine.
been honest with the American people.
And so you wouldn't have blocked it.
I would have been honest with the American people now.
So you wouldn't have blocked it.
I wouldn't have directly blocked it. I would have made sure that we had the best science, and there was no effort to do that at that time.
And if there is another pandemic that were to strike, why should the American public have confidence that you would allow a vaccine to be made available through the market, even it's on an emergency
let me point
authorization?
this out. That they should not have confidence in the people who are managing our pandemic. We had the worst record of any country in the world. So we had 16% of the COVID deaths in the United States of America. We only had 4.2% of the globe's population. So whatever we were doing in this country was the worst of every country in the world.
So in order to do that, you say clearing out the corruption in your terms. Would that mean clearing out the top level federal service workers that are currently at the FDA and the CDC?
In some categories, I would say.
What does that look like? Yeah.
In some categories of workers, there are entire departments, like the nutrition departments at FDA, that have to go, that are not doing their job. They're not protecting our kids. Why do we have Fruit Loops in this country that have 18 or 19 ingredients, and you go to Canada and it's got 2 or 3?
Would you eliminate any of the agencies?
To eliminate the agencies, as long as it requires congressional approval, I wouldn't be doing that. But I can get the corruption out of the agencies. This is what I've been doing for 40 years. I've sued all those agencies. I have a PhD in corporate corruption, and that's what I do. And once they're not corrupt, once Americans are getting good science and are allowed to make their own choices, they're going to get a lot healthier.
You've also talked about fluoride in the U.S. water supply. You would seek to ban fluoride in the U.S. water supply?
Well, I would advise the water districts that are currently using it that there's a lot of new science out there. And in fact, there's a federal judge decision by an Obama-appointed judge on October 4th of this year in which he sent EPA back to the drawing board and said, you've never done the safety studies on this. And by the way...
And so what does that look like? Without debating, without going back and forth on the science?
By the way, it's lowering IQ in our children.
What would you, upon January 2025, we're 3 months away here, what would you actually do in your position inside of the White House?
I think fluoride is on its way out.
And how do you make that happen? This is your chance, is what you're suggesting to me. How would you make that happen?
Well, listen to what I'm saying, okay, and then I'll tell you.
Okay.
I think fluoride is on the way out because of that court decision. I think the faster that it goes out, the better. I'm not going to compel anybody to take it out, but I'm going to advise the water districts about their legal liability, their legal obligation to their service zones and to their constituents, and I'm going to give them good information about the science, and I think that fluoride will disappear.